This is my kitchen in my apartment, and on the kitchen table we have this Aiwa stereo system. This is one of these dirt cheap all-in-one compact stereo systems. I found this thing in the trash room of this apartment building this morning, and I don't know what this is. It seems that the electronics junk in the trash room is always incredibly filthy. Look at that. This thing's really in a bit of a state. Anyway, I thought it would be interesting to pop this thing apart to see what's going on inside. Looking at this thing from the outside first, this is the Aiwa model NSX-SZ100 digital audio system with Super T bass, as it says right there. All the way at the top we have a 3 CD changer. We got a tiny little vacuum fluorescent display in there. This has a tuner in it, and then we have a double cassette deck right there. Just a dirt cheap thing. You can always tell when they don't paint these buttons. That means they use the cheapest mechanisms they could possibly get. Although, I will have to say, this is actually a bit better than usual, because looking down into the record side, you can see this does have a real raise head, not just a little permanent magnet. Here we have the back of the unit. Not much going on. As you can see, we do have an auxiliary input, which is kind of unusual. Then the usual antenna inputs, AM and FM. Then we got these cheap speaker terminals. As you can see, these are not even spring-loaded. And this entire case, the back, the side panels, and of course the front, this is all made out of plastic. I now have the top and side covers removed from the unit. You can see the 3 CD changer up on top, and I'm willing to bet that this is having some sort of a problem, that it doesn't work. But we'll find out. Down below we have the main board right there. Then there is another board at the front which has the display, and presumably that thing up there is a microcontroller, so that's on there. There is a component side. Got a heatsink right there, which is really just a big piece of metal. Nothing in the bottom except for a lot of dust. Seems like they also use this case for some much bigger systems that required 2 ventilator fans. And then right there we have a dirt cheap dual cassette deck mechanism. As you can see, no flywheels in this one, just some plastic things. Oh, the belts are wow. Belts are absolutely slack in this. Absolutely loose. So that's not going to work anymore. There is just one single motor right there, so even if this was working, it wouldn't be very good. On the other side, we have a tiny little transformer, which looks like this is so terribly underdimensioned they had to screw this piece of metal on it for cooling. Well, actually no, this is just a mounting bracket. Got to take that back. It's not that bad. Then we have some regulator chips. I'm not sure. Yeah, those must be regulator chips. I don't see the power amplifier chip yet. And then they have this aluminum bracket screwed onto there to act as a, bit more of a heatsink, because that metal part is not enough, apparently. More plastic from the cassette deck mechanism. I plugged the unit in, and as you can see, we got a terribly worn out vacuum fluorescent display right there. If I power this on, you can see this is looking pretty bad. So it's now trying to read a CD, and I do have a CD in there, but of course it doesn't work. It doesn't even spin the disc. Okay, now it's trying, but as you can see, nothing's happening at all. Just the laser is clicking. We do have a little animation on our terribly worn out display, as you can see. I now have the tuner activated, and I guess this works perfectly fine. So you can see we have FM, and then as we press the function button, you have medium wave and long wave as well. That's the video input on the back. That's the CD, and then we have the tape, which, as I already said, the belts are bad, and I guess the motor is just as bad. Just listen to that. That sounds pretty rough. And nothing's happening in here anymore. So, let's go ahead and take this thing apart. I now have the CD changer removed, and you can see this is flimsy. Look at this back panel and how you can bend this all over the place. This is crazy. Got two ribbon connectors, one there and one there. I guess this is the control and this is the power supply. You disconnect that and there's the CD player. And that's the underside of the unit. Nothing special. You can turn this gear and get it to open up, as you can see. That's the underside of the drawer. As you can see, it does have a part of the turning mechanism embedded in it, which is interesting. It's not just a drawer. And then there we have the actual CD player. Laser is hiding down in there. As you can see, there it is. Seems to be a Sony laser, not a surprise. Aiwa was a Sony company. This does have a little dust protector cover. I'm not sure when that closes. And then right there we have a little belt, and unlike the one in the cassette deck, this one is actually still quite good. Yep, that definitely goes into the parts bin. You take out some more screws and the whole housing just comes apart. There it is, neat stack. And we can now go ahead and investigate this a little further. I want to try to get the main board out of there as well. Here we have the front of the unit. The only thing that remains mounted to it is the cassette mechanism, and as you can clearly see, also the second belt is no good at all. There is that tiny flimsy little motor right there, and up here we have this rather clever design where they made all the buttons so that they were connected to each other and easier to assemble. There is one unit, and then here we have the other one. And that's how the front looks now without all the buttons in it. The main board and display board are right here. And these are permanently connected together. You can't take them apart because, as you can see, the connectors are just wires that are soldered straight into the circuit board. So there we have the side with the buttons and the display. The microcontroller sits on the other side. There we have the headphone jack. Here we have the transformer. We have a standby relay, rectifier bridge. You can see this doesn't take a whole lot of power because these are rather flimsy little diodes right there, and that's your filter capacitor. That's not much either. It's actually the biggest capacitor in the whole set. Got some components down there, filtering for the speakers, speaker outputs right there. That's the auxiliary input. Then we have the tuner, got our little RF shielded can right there. Then we got two ICs, and that's enough for the whole entire tuner. It's that simple. Now, talking of simple, there is something in this that is not simple at all. As a matter of fact, it's quite remarkable. Have you seen an amplifier chip in this? No, because there is no amplifier chip. Believe it or not, this is actually using a discrete transistor output stage. You can see it right there. Make some light and you can see there are two pairs, PNP and NPN. And as we look at the front of those transistors, you can see there is not much going on right there at all. And also behind the heatsink, you can see there are some capacitors, but certainly not a whole lot of componentry that would be required for a discrete power amplifier. So where is it? Well, on the bottom. As you can see, this power amplifier is largely built with surface mount components. There are plenty of transistors in there, which you may or may not be able to make out. So that is quite interesting. So there is only one regulator transistor right there, and then this is a discrete output stage. What a surprise. And that's it for this teardown video. I will be keeping the main board, at least for right now, because it does contain some usable parts, such as the input and output jacks, the output transistors. I should be able to do something with those. Got a headphone jack, which, well, it is mountable in the front using a screw, using a nut, so that's usable. Got a relay, got a transformer. That little 3300 microfarad main filter capacitor is probably not going to be all that useful. Look at that, we even have a fuse in this. 315 milliamps. That's not much, especially for a whole entire stereo system. And then I'm even going to keep part of this housing, because as I found out, the top and the bottom, you can actually screw those together. There are screw holes in the right places, and I should be able to do something with this. Turn it into some sort of a slimline component with something in it. Obviously I'll be cleaning this. Only challenge is going to be to attach some sort of a cover to this. Well, that's it. This is all the rest. This is going to go straight back into the trash room tomorrow when it's open. So, thank you for watching, and see you again soon.